Okay, for what we have in this simulation of ALEKS, Section R.4 and factoring. Okay, we have just in this particular sample, we're looking at factoring this particular sum of cubes, whereupon we have 125 plus 8x cubed. And so for what we have in the setup, again, so if you have sum of cubes, okay, so you have a cubed plus b cubed, and we have in the formula, okay, so this is going to be the quantity of a plus b. We have times the quantity of a squared minus ab plus b squared. And we have for this particular problem, okay, so you have 125 plus 8x cubed. Okay. And now if you notice, you have 125 is a perfect cube. Okay, so 125 is 5 to the third. 8x cubed is going to be 2x raised to the third power. And you can envision, okay, a is being represented by 5, b is represented by 2x. Okay, so we can say we have 5 plus 2x as the first order factor. And then we have for a squared, okay, so you have 5 to the second minus ab. We can see we have the subtraction of 5 times 2x. And we have with b squared, so this would be 2x quantity squared. And we have in the follow through, okay, so you have the quantity of 5 plus 2x. 5 squared is going to be at 25. Negative 5 times 2x, so we have minus 10x. 2x quantity squared, okay, so this will become 4x squared. Okay, and so this is going to be our result. And in transferring the information over to what we have in ALEKS, okay, so we have the quantity of 5 plus 2x. We have times quantity of 25 minus 10x plus 4x squared. And just checking out. And we have the correct result. Okay, now we have for where factoring is concerned, okay, where we could potentially involve factoring by grouping. So here we have 3x squared plus 19x plus 20. And now we have in this one, so we have 3x squared plus 19x plus 20. And if you were to go with the factoring by grouping approach as opposed to using trial and error, so we can multiply the first and the last coefficients. Okay, so you have 3 times 20 becomes 60. And again, we have adding up to 19. We need factors of 60 that will have 19 as a sum. And again, we have with the factors 3 and 20. 3 times 20 is going to be at 60. However, 3 plus 20 is going to be at 23. Okay, so this is not the combination that we are looking for. If we go with 4 and 15, 4 times 15 is 60. 4 and 15 will add up to 19. So this would be that combination that we seek in the factoring by grouping approach. So if I split up the 19x terms, so I have 3x squared plus 4x, and I have plus 15x plus 20. And looking at factoring by grouping, so I have the quantity of 3x squared plus 4x, and I have plus the quantity of 15x plus 20. And for what we have between the first two terms, the greatest common factor is only going to be x. And if I take into 3x squared plus 4x, okay, so this will go 3x plus 4 times. Then we have for 15x plus 20, okay, the greatest common factor between 15x and 20, okay, so that is going to be the number 5. And taking into 15x plus 20, okay, this is also going to end up at 3x plus 4. So if you notice, we have a common factor between the groups at 3x plus 4. So this will be one factor, and the other one is going to be at the quantity of x plus 5. Okay, so relegating what we have back to what we have in the problem. Okay, so just testing out. So I have the quantity of 3x plus 4. I have times the quantity of x plus 5. And checking the result. And the answer is correct. Okay, now we have for this particular problem, okay, we have a difference of squares with u to the second minus 25. Okay, and here we have with u squared minus 25. Okay, so this is going to be a difference of squares. And for u to the second, just as x to the second would factor out to x and x, u to the second will factor out to u and u. And since we don't have a first order u term, okay, this means we will have the same weights in terms of what will be added and subtracted in the factors of 25. So we have u plus 5 quantity times the quantity of u minus 5. And just carrying this over. So in carrying this over, say the quantity of u plus 5 times the quantity of u minus 5. And checking the result. Okay, for what we have in this problem, we have v minus 7 all over v squared minus 49. Okay, and if I look at simplifying, okay, so I have v minus 7 over v squared minus 49. And with v squared minus 49, I have a difference of squares. And looking at the factors, okay, we have a common factor between the numerator and denominator with v minus 7. So we have v minus 7 to cancel out. And so we have, in the result, we end up at 1 over v plus 7. And so in checking the result, okay, so you have 1 all over v plus 7. And checking out what we have here, and the result is correct. Okay, for what we have in this particular problem, we have working with the variable c. So I have c squared minus 4c over c squared minus 12c plus 36 minus 12 over c squared minus 12c plus 36. Now we have the same denominator. Now I can go ahead and combine the numerators. Okay, so we have in this problem, I can join together, whereupon I have c squared minus 4c minus 12 all over c squared minus 12c plus 36. And looking at what we have, if I factor, so we have in the numerator, okay, so I have for c squared, this will factor out to c and c. Factors of negative 12, that will have a sum of negative 4. More weight will be given to the subtraction than to the addition. So we have with those factors, we have the quantity of c minus 6 times the quantity of c plus 2. Now for c squared minus 12c plus 36, what I'm going to have here, okay, is going to be a squared trinomial. And this will factor out to essentially the square of c minus 6, and just writing in terms of multiplication, we can just say we have c minus 6 times itself. And notice we have a common factor in c minus 6 in the numerator and denominator. So we can cancel out one set of c minus 6 terms. And so we have c plus 2 all over c minus 6. And just carrying over to what we have here. So I have c plus 2 all over c minus 6. And checking out, and it is correct. Okay, for what we have in this problem, okay, we have the difference between the ratio x plus 6 over x minus 2 and x minus 7 over x. And if we look at taking the difference and simplifying the result as much as possible, okay, so we have here, to be able to combine, okay, we need to put what we have here in terms of the least common denominator. In this particular case, we have variable factors. So the least common denominator is going to be at x times the quantity of x minus 2. And if I take what I have here, okay, first of all, we have with x plus 6 over x minus 2. I have x minus 2, but I'm missing the factor x. So I can multiply this ratio by 1 in the form of x over itself. And we have next in line, okay, we have x minus 7 over x. And we have the x factor, but we are missing the x minus 2 factor. So I'm going to multiply this second ratio by 1 in the form of x minus 2 over itself. Now we have, again, just for the first ratio, we have x times, okay, the quantity of x minus 2, x multiplied by x plus 6. Think of it like distributing x over x plus 6, so this will become x squared plus 6x. We have minus. Now for the second ratio, we're going to have the denominator also at x times the quantity of x minus 2. Now if I step over to the side, we have x minus 7 and x minus 2. If I were to FOIL out, I have x times x is x squared. I have minus 2x minus 7x. Negative 7 times negative 2 becomes positive 14. And looking at combining like terms together, so we have x squared minus 9x plus 14. Okay, and this expression will be subtracted from the first numerator. And so as I look at combining together, so we have x squared plus 6x. Now all of this trinomial is going to be affected by the subtraction that comes before what was the second ratio. So looking at the distribution, again, so we're going to have x squared plus 6x, and we have minus x squared, and we're going to have plus 9x minus 14 all over x times the quantity of x minus 2. And for what we have in the process, now we're going to have x squared terms to cancel out. And combining the x terms in the numerator, we have 6x plus 9x becomes 15x. We have minus 14. And we have all over x times the quantity of x minus 2. Okay, and that is going to be in simplest form. And so now taking what we have and transferring over. So we have in the result, so we have 15x minus 14, and we have all over x times the quantity of x minus 2, and checking the result, and the answer is correct.